always have a passion for speaking.
I mean, you were already on your way. You were with the Tony Robbins thing. Like, you could have turned that into a whole thing.
Well, yeah, because
had you not been committing crimes.
Well, yeah.
But had you not been committing crimes, you would have never met Tony Robbins either. It's a big circle.
Yeah, it is scary. It's scary. It is. It is. That opened up a doorway that I would have never imagined exist.
Hey, this is Matt Cox, and I'm here with Zack.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to be answering, what do you call it? Viewer questions? We're going to be answering viewer questions that obviously viewers have left for Zack and I. So go ahead.
I think most of these questions are for you.
I don't think so.
Some
of them say Zack. I know some of them say Zack.
Yeah, one or two of them. I mean, but you bring me in to answer two questions. I'm answering the two questions and I'm leaving. Okay.
We're going to do another video.
All right. So question number 1, it says, how does a regular person stay away from being scammed?
I mean, who picked that one? Did you pick that one?
Yeah, I picked it.
What? How does it, what do you mean? If it's too good to be true, it's not true. I mean, it's like.
No, you're thinking, okay, so their question probably is, how do they avoid being a victim? Not being scam. Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it is like scam. Like, hey, if you give me $50, like there was a thing going around where they had this group where you had to get like 13 people to give $50, and if you got 13 people, and each of those 13 people got 13 people, then you'd end up getting like 2 or 3 $1,000 at the end of the week. Once it was just like a pyramid scam going on.
Right.
Is that what you're saying? Like that sounds too good to be true.
I mean, it could be anything. Like most of the people, like the loan officers and lawyers and stuff, where I would walk in and give them my documents and give them this and just go through the motions. A lot of them said, "Man, I felt like something was wrong. Like remember the lawyer that recognized me? We were doing the closing. He had seen my picture.
Right.
My wanted poster was in the back room. He saw my picture. He came, sat down, started disclosing, and I started to sign, or I wasn't signing, he just started disclosing. And he looked at me and goes, huh. He goes, can you hold on a second? Sure. Got up, walked back, looked at the poster, but it said like that I was wanted out of like Atlanta, Georgia or something. And he said, looked at the application, it said that I had just come here from Florida. And he looked at it and he went, and it said that I'd worked for this company for 5 years. And he goes, oh, it can't be the same guy. Like for some reason that made sense to him, even though it said identity theft, wire fraud, bank fraud, like, passport fraud, like all these different things. He's like, yeah, must be. Walked back, disclosed, and I walked out with a check for like $150,000 or something. Nice. So what I'm saying is, afterwards, when the Secret Service showed up to talk to him, he said, man, I felt like something was wrong. And a lot of times these guys, when they get scammed and they're being told, hey, send, the IRS called them and said, you owe $1,500 if you don't pay us right now. Like they make them go to Walmart and get a Walmart card and put money here and wire us money here. And it's like.
That amazes me that works.
That works. And then, so what's funny is those people were like, I felt like something was wrong. Like your intuition told you something was wrong. There's nothing wrong with checking.
Right.
Like why didn't you check? I don't know. He said not to hang up the phone.
Yes. And they're going to stay on the phone with you while you go to Walmart. Right. And you're going to pay their company. It's like basically if you didn't pay, you get arrested. I don't understand why you felt so much pressure. Like, I'm going to do it. Yeah, but if you don't do it, you're going to get arrested. So I'm going to stay on the phone with you. Like, why do you care if I do it or not?
Right. Yeah, it doesn't. The thing is like a lot of times it's intuition. A lot of times if it's too good to be true, right? Like it's an investment opportunity. Like, I'm sorry, there's just very few. Like, first of all, if it's an investment opportunity where, hey, I can make 300% on my investment, great. Well, you have to understand if you can make 300% on your investment, you also have to understand that there's about a 95% chance that you'll just lose your whole investment. And that's a legitimate investment where if I'm investing in, let's say, a startup, I'm going to give you $50,000. Well, only, like 1 in 10, more like 1 in 20 startups actually pay off.
Right.
So you've got like a 90 to 95% chance you're going to lose your entire investment. So, but if I'll hit big. Great. Well, it's the same thing with this scam. Sounded too good to be true, and you lost your investment.
Well,
it's too good to be true.
Right. But okay, so think of Bernie Madoff. So
that's a good scam because he didn't pay outrageous returns. He paid slightly more than than what the NASDAQ.
So they come along later and say that, like, how was he getting more than what everybody else was getting?
Right, but it wasn't outrageously more. It was like 8 to 12%.
Right,
and the market
but it was more.
It was more. But people, I don't know. Another big thing is there was a guy named Andrew Levinson who used to tell me that people were more, his big thing was the whole urgency thing. And one of the things he did was he would break up he did business opportunity scams, and he would break up a city into like 8 different sections. And he'd say, okay, well, and the guy would say like, yeah, I do. I'm interested. I'm not sure. I'd like to be in Tampa. And you go, okay, well, Tampa's 8. We have 8 different divisions in Tampa or sections.
Right.
3 of those are already sold. I know that we have one of them that we just sent out the contract. I don't know if that guy's signed it yet. So what area first? What area are you interested in? So right now the guy's like, there's 8 areas, 4 are basically gone.
Right.
There's 4 left. Like, well, I want to be in this area, right? Oh, no, that one's gone. That one's gone. Okay, that's one of the ones that went 3 on Monday. So, okay, so wait. Well, what about we got this area there? So you're already thinking I'm going to lose out on this opportunity. People are more concerned about losing out on an opportunity than they are at risking their money.
Yeah.
So,
with the somebody else is coming to look at the car type of.
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay.
Like,
well,
I had a guy come in today and look at it. Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Gosh, I better get this one because they didn't make 30,000 Ford Ford F-150s last year. Like, okay, well, I'll never find another one.
Yeah, you'll never get a deal like this one is your problem.
Yeah.
Look, leave, and you're gonna miss out.
Right.
So you're saying if it sounds too good to be true,
it's not true.
It's not true.
Right.
So just take a moment and verify.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with like trust but verify, right? Ronald Reagan. So
that's right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's true.
And if some guy's like, oh, if you leave the lot, stop. You know it's a scam. Now I know you're full of shit.
True.
If I leave the scam, there's a good chance you call me up tomorrow and give me a better deal. If I leave the car lot, it's a better chance you call me. Hey, I talked to my manager. Did you?
Yeah.
He's willing to knock an extra $350 off.
Well, what about the people that were showing up? They never showed up. But okay. I need you to show back up.
Right. Stop. Come on, man. Stop.
All right. Easy enough. All right. So this one said, let's talk. They want you to talk more about your crazy tenants and crazy ex-wife stories.
Who picked this? Like, I can't do a whole crazy tenant. Colby? I can't do. Did you pick that?
Listen, these are questions. I tell you, they weren't mostly about me.
My crazy ex-wife. First of all, just saying the word crazy ex-wife on here, I just got a phone call. You understand? She can never see this video now. So I usually will get the video and I'll share it and send it to like maybe 10 or 20 people that I know, and she's one of them.
Right.
I can't send this video now. And I'll never remember that this was in the video.
Listen. Trust me when I tell you.
She watches them anyway.
Oh, okay, good. Trust me when I tell you I understand. So
I know you do.
So you have to be extremely careful. You don't want to upset. We don't want to upset the exes.
No. Like, yeah. God, I feel so bad for her husband. That dude's doing some hard time.
Yes, he is.
He's doing some time.
So no tenant. What about the tenants? You know tenant story. Is that what you're saying? You're denying the questioner?
Well, I mean, I think I've told, like, she's got a bunch of them. I ought to have her. She'd never do it though. Like she could tell
you the stories and you relay them.
Yeah, I could do that.
And we could dress them up.
All right. Well, I'll think about that. We'll do another video. What's going on?
All right. Next one.
Hey, by the way, just want to let you guys know if you're interested in supporting me and supporting the channel and you like artwork, because I do have a degree in fine arts, I'm selling all of these paintings. They are modified screen prints and they go for $285, and I will ship any one of them to you within the continental United States for the price of $285. My email will be in the description, so just shoot me an email and I will ship you off a painting, and I really appreciate it. So back to the video.
So I know you guys said when you get imprisoned, okay.
Yeah, I know. Some of these guys, bro, it's like, come on.
So they're saying that we had money taken away. So they said, what if we launder the money and make legitimate investments? Can they track that? Depending on how it's laundered and how legitimate and how long you've had the legitimate investments is whether they can track it or not. Like the Domino's They did not seize the franchise that I had. So,
right.
But then it wasn't in my name, so I don't know if that was the issue. It
really depends on the U.S. attorney.
Yeah, it
if
does.
he really wants to be a jerk, he can try and grab every single thing.
Well, see, sometimes complexity. I was saying, they're looking from the outside in. So when they only see certain things and they don't understand like everything that's going on. So I don't think that he saw that, because if he would have, I think he would have pursued it. So the fact that, because I got grabbed on something I did in Tampa, right? I didn't get grabbed on anything I did anywhere else.
Right.
And the information that they received told them speckles of things that we done. They had no idea the scope of what was going on a daily basis.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So by not knowing that, they're looking through a hole about this big, when like on the other side of that hole, they'll be like, if they'd have got through it, they'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude.
We'd be having this conversation right now over the phone.
Yes, we would. So it just depends on the scope. And just like you were saying about someone where 1% of what they were doing was fraud, and they took the 100%. So that happens to drug dealers if they pull up in a new car and do a transaction, or if they talk to you on the phone in the car. Right. Like if they can associate their vehicle, they want to take it. It's like they want to take everything.
Well, look, the bottom line is like if you have like a job where you make $50,000 a year and then you make another $200,000 fraudulently, let's say, like if they grab you and you say whoa, and they say we're taking the $250,000. You go, whoa, 50,000 of that's legitimate, and I can prove that's legitimate because of this and this and this, and I took that money, and then they say, well, what about you bought these 3 houses? Yes, but I used that $50,000, and so you can.
They're not going to let that happen.
Well, it does happen. It does happen. But if you plead guilty and you argue with them, they will say to a certain extent, like, okay, well, you're right. You can legitimately show where you made this money, so we're gonna let that go. But once again, like you said, like I said, it's the U.S. attorney.
Listen. Okay, so
but the U.S. attorney might just be like, I don't care about any of that.
I agree with you, but the forfeiture laws, and especially under President Obama, got to be so generous that it went from and I saw this statistic. I'm trying to remember where I saw it because I'd like to cite the place, and if I can, I hope you put a link. But the statistics of what the U.S. attorneys gathered in forfeiture, like in 2000, 2010, and 2020, is like in 2000, it was like maybe like 600 million. And in 2010, it was like 7.8 billion.
Right.
And in 2020, it was like $43 billion.
Yeah, it becomes profitable to go after.
So somehow there's kickbacks somewhere. There's no reason for them to seize so many assets. Do you know now, even if you're under investigation or accused, they can seize an asset and they don't have to give it back? It's unbelievable. Listen, the forfeiture laws now, they want everything. If you do something in your house, if I call you from my house phone, they're like, well, we want your house. You made the criminal call to Matt.
Well, I understand it's that liberal, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do that every time.
Okay.
Well, I'm saying in general, if you can prove this is legitimate money, I bought this asset. With that money, you can see the money went in the bank. You can see that, like, there's certain things they'll say, okay, well, we can't grab that. It's legitimate. Like, you legitimately made the money to grab it.
They act like it's
Well, I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying that most of the U.S. attorneys are not going to go out of their way. Like, you can argue, you can go in front of the judge and argue, Your Honor, this, and then if the judge is going to be like, okay, well, he did make that legitimate. What are you doing? Like, what I'm saying is most of the time when you plead guilty, you're so desperate to get a decent sentence, you're ready to sign over everything.
Yes.
Because you're thinking it will help you with your sentence. But the truth is, it doesn't really help you. Like, most of the time, if you sit there and say, I'm not giving you this, I'm not giving that, I'm not this, I'll plead guilty, but I'm not doing this. I'm not, a lot of times you can argue, and because giving them all that stuff typically doesn't help you anyway.
Right.
So the other thing I want to say is, look, if you take fraudulent money and buy and turn it into a legitimate business, they can go after that business. Right?
Correct.
Okay. But a lot of times They may not necessarily go after it because it requires a lot on their. If they're not getting help and getting you to sign it over, typically they may not go after it. They may or may not. Okay, you're going to say we have difference of opinion.
Yes, we do, because you're citing the letter of the law, and they.
I understand, but a lot of times they'll skate the letter or the skirt.
Skate.
I don't know. Whatever. They'll get around the letter of the law just by saying, "Do this." You're going to plead guilty, but to plead guilty, you have to do this. So you, okay. The truth is, the law says they can't do that, but you just agreed to do it because you wanted to plead guilty and get a decent. You thought you were going to get a decent sentence, and you thought it was going to help you. So we have a difference of opinion on that.
Yes, we do.
So I think, regardless, they can take your business if you use fraudulent proceeds to do it with. They can take it.
And
they can. Will they? You say they will every time.
They will.
I think that
they will say it's. I want to think of the term that they use when they think it's so intricate. I'm gonna get it.
Interwoven.
Yeah, it's something interwoven that they can't separate out the legal funds from the illegal funds, and they're gonna take it. Or if you had any activity in whatever vehicle or whatever, their goal is take.
Right.
You know that's the first thing. We can seize whatever property you have. You know.
All right. So anyway, I don't think
I got spared. I got spared that, like, unbelievably.
Well, I don't think we answered that question at all.
All right, good for us. All right. Given all the time and effort, cleverness you guys dedicated to make fraud an art form, in retrospect, what could you have applied all those skills to do legally?
Come on. Why do people do this? You trying to make me feel bad?
These are our viewers.
First of all, I actually am doing something. What I should have been doing. I should have been painting and writing the whole time, but I really didn't work on my writing skills till I went to prison. So really, I had the time to hone that.
You weren't
craft.
passionate about what were you out passionate about over? Like, oh my God, dude, that's brilliant. You're like
prior to prison.
Yeah, like what would you have found brilliant prior to prison to write about? A love story?
I mean, I liked crime movies and stuff before I went to prison. You know, I did. So I even wrote a book called.
I don't think Logan's Run is crime, but
I wrote The Associate. I wrote a story called The Associates when I was before prison.
Show to John Grisham, but go ahead.
I wrote it before him.
Oh, okay.
And it's a different story.
All right.
So I mean, I would say, I don't know. I would say art or
an art story.
No, art. I mean, art. Just writing. The same thing I'm doing now. Only the difference is then I was trying to make money, and making money was more important than following what I was passionate about. And now I wrote when I was in prison, and I paint. For example, I painted all of these paintings, and they're all for sale. That's what we got to do. We got to do a little commercial. We'll have to do a commercial and just embed it. You know, that way I don't have to do that. Like they'll just show up and it'll be different. So, yeah. So anyway, there'll be a link. There'll be a link in the description where you can contact me if you wanna buy a painting. They're going for like $285, and I ship them to you. That's a deal.
Is the shipping included?
Shipping is included if you're in the continental United States.
And if you're not in the continental,
well, then you have to pay extra.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like if you're in Australia and it's going to cost $110 to ship it to you, I'm not paying that.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
Hopefully they won't get that in the.
Yeah, I mean, what could we have legally done? Like, I don't know. I could have probably stuck with real estate and just kept. If I'd been patient, if I'd just been patient and stuck with real estate, I probably would have done well in real estate and then lost everything during the 2008 crisis. You know, crash, whatever.
Yeah,
crisis.
Cool.
Is it what do they call it? The 2008 crisis?
Crisis.
Yeah. So I probably would have lost everything then anyway. So what does it matter?
I think I could have like wormed my way back into maybe training or teaching.
Yeah.
I always have a passion for or speaking.
Well, I mean, you were already on your way. You were with the Tony Robbins thing. Like you could have turned that into a whole thing.
Well, yeah, because
had you not been committing crimes.
Well, yeah.
But had you not been committing crimes, you would have never met Tony Robbins either. It's a big circle.
Yeah, it is scary. It's scary. It is. It is. That opened up a doorway that I would have never imagined exist. All right, talk about Bandman Kevo, Money Man, and Rich Wayne.
You picked these, right? Colby, did you pick?
They're all of them. We just said we're going to.
Okay, well, I mean, Like what that is, that's basically saying we should do a reaction video to those. So we will at some point we'll watch one of those.
A couple of the people that I talked to that were in with us and out, like my friend, they watch those videos. Like, man, this guy is. I mean, he's telling you how to make it, man, and like he's speaking my language. Like, so they're giving dreams to thugs.
Right. Well, it's like when I taught the real estate class, and every guy that left the real estate class thought they were going to go out and start flipping houses and make millions.
Yes.
And it's like I get them hyped up and everything, and if they had a little bit of experience and maybe they could do it, but you can't. And first of all, a lot of the stuff that he says is,
inaccurate.
It's inaccurate because a lot of it's basically like you have to lie on the application. You have to he doesn't tell you that when they ask you like your job, you have to basically say you've been on the job 5 years or 3 years or 2 years. You have to say you make like $85,000 a year. Like you can't sit there and say, you've been on the job, unemployed. You can't be honest about it, or you can't say,
street pharmacist.
Yeah, exactly. Drug deal. Like you can't say you're already committing fraud while you're filling out the application. And then the whole where they talk about putting the money in the bank and then borrowing against the money and then taking that money and putting it in another bank and doing this over and over. They have all these little tactics, but every time that you go to do certain things, you're constantly kind of lying about this. And not that they don't work. They do work. I understand they work.
Right.
But you're also committing fraud on a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. You're kind of committing fraud, and it takes time.
Yeah.
Let's say you do it all legitimately. You really have a job. You really put all the correct information down, and you really do it. It takes time. And I always love it, like they'll build up to where you can borrow like $200,000 or $300,000. It's like, but what are you going to do with that money? Like you're excited because you borrowed $300,000 from like 3 different banks, or $100,000 from 3 different banks. You got $300,000. What are you going to do with the money? Like basically what he's saying is like they'll be different. Some of these guys will be like, yeah, now you got the money. You can do whatever you want with the money. No, you have to repay the money. Like basically you're setting them up for foreclosure. Yes. I mean, I'm sorry, for bankruptcy or collections. And that's fine. But if you go into that scenario with that in mind, you're committing fraud.
Yes.
You say, well, I'm going to get the money. I'm never going to make a payment. Well, that's fraud. I'm not saying you'll get prosecuted. You may not get prosecuted. You may or may not. But the truth is, a lot of these little schemes are just fraudulent. Right. I listened to one of his videos where he was talking about putting down like 5% down on the house, and then which is essentially like that's an owner-occupied property. You're not going to. You have to put 20% down on investment property, 5% down on owner-occupied. So and then he says, so once you get that house, you go get another house. And you put 5% down on that one. Then you go get, whoa. How many owner-occupied properties are you going to tell these people to do? You're saying they're moving in the house, putting down 5% for an owner-occupied loan, but you're telling them not to even move into the house.
Right.
Or move in the house for a month and then leave. He doesn't even say that, but move in the house and then leave. It's like, okay, whoa. If they don't move in the house and didn't have intentions and they got an owner-occupied property, which means that they told the bank, I'm going to move in this house, and they never did and never intended to, you just committed what's called owner-occupancy fraud. And then you went and bought another one and told the next bank the same thing. You just committed owner-occupancy fraud again because they're talking about renting out the houses. Like I listened to him and another guy talk through this whole scheme about ending up with like $2 million worth of real estate, and you're like, you just told these people how to commit $2 million worth of fraud.
That's a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's a little bit, yeah. But they put that out there, and all these guys are like, yeah, man, yeah, that's the shit. He put it on the game.
They're living off the hype.
Right. Well, first of all, they're never going to do it. Because to qualify for those mortgages, he never mentions you have to have a job, you have to have the money in the bank for 90 days, you have to have good credit. Like, they never mention all that stuff.
Well, listen, to be fair to them, neither did you in your real estate class. So.
Not true. That's a blatant lie. My real estate class was good.
Yes, it was
solid.
But
let's go to the next one. I don't even believe anything you say. I feel like one of your victims.
Yeah. Okay, those guys.